Hi folks, and welcome to Attica Armory. So today we're going to be doing a little experiment. This is something that I've been curious about for quite some time, and that's how does extreme temperature affect the performance of your ammunition? And we've all heard stories about how, deep freezing ammo or having big fluctuations from freezing to extremely hot, such as what you might see in a car, can affect performance of your ammo and actually degrade it over time. So what I wanted to find out is whether or not there's any actual truth to that. So the only way to do that is to conduct some experiments. Now, full disclosure, I'm a gun guy, I'm not a scientist, but I am going to try to keep this as close to scientific as I can get with my limited scientific capabilities. What we've got here is we've got some Fiocchi 9mm 124 grain full metal jacket, and I chose this particular ammo for this first experiment because one, it's always been really good ammo, at least for me. I've always had great luck with it. It's very consistent. It's got good solid velocities, so it's nice and stout, and it's very reliable overall. It shoots well in pretty much every gun I've ever fed it to. Now, this is brand new ammo. We purchased this just a few days ago. It is 2019 right now, and as you can see, the box has not been exposed to any undue moisture or abuse, so it's a pretty decent specimen to start with. So what we're going to do is we're going to take half of this box of ammo, or 25 rounds, and we're going to go ahead and mark these so that we know which is which. Now, the ammo with the black lines on it is the ammo that we're going to subject to some extreme temperatures. We're going to start off by putting them in the freezer for 24 hours and get them to a deep freeze. Then we're going to take them out of the freezer and we're going to put them in the oven at about 160 to 170 degrees Fahrenheit. And this is going to simulate at least a little bit what the environment in your automobile might look like if, say, you were to leave this box of ammo in there across 4 seasons. You're going to get deep freezes at night, at least in our neck of the woods in northern Colorado. You're going to get deep freezes in the winter down into the single digits, and then in the summer when it gets really hot, like right now in July, 90 plus degrees outside, if you leave it in the car it could get well into the 140s, 150s. We're going to push that limit just a little bit higher. We're going to take our unmarked ammo and we're going to transfer it over to this case right here, and this case will be stored in a climate controlled, humidity controlled environment so that it's as pampered as humanly possible. Then once the abused ammo is nice and thoroughly beaten up, we're going to take these out to the range and we're going to do some velocity tests with the chrono and see how all that abuse affected the performance of our ammo. Alright, let's put these back in the box and let's go put them in the freezer. See how it goes. Alright, so we're out here in the garage, got the freezer. Please ignore all the chopped up dead bodies in here. Nothing to see here, folks. Alright, we're going to go ahead and put these in right here. And I'm going to put this little thermometer so we'll be able to see exactly what kind of temps we're at once we open this thing up. Alright, we're back, and it's been about 27 hours since we put this in, so let's see what kind of temps we're at. So pretty cold, so we're at about 10, 11 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit. Let's pull these out. Let's go toss them in the oven. Alright, so we've got the oven preheated at 170, and let's see what the internal temperature is. That's pretty close. So there, our thermometer, it's showing just about where we're at. So I'm going to put them in this pot just in case, and Put a lid on there. And right now it's about 10-12 p.m. So let's see what we can come up with here in about an hour. Hopefully they last that long without exploding in there. Alright, so it's been about an hour, and let's see, our temperature is still right in that 170, 180 range. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. We're going to let it cool off for a little bit. Alright, let's take these back out to the freezer. Alright, so it's been about 23 hours, and let's see where we're at here. So we're again at about 11 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit. Let's go toss these in the oven real quick. Alright, so we're at 170 again. Oven's preheated. Now you can kind of see where that's at. Let's drop this in. 10:23 p.m. So we'll come and pick these up here in about an hour. Alright, so it's been about an hour, and we're still at 170. And you can see here the temp, pretty close, pretty close. So let's go ahead and turn this off, pull this guy out, put him right here. Yeah, those puppies are pretty hot. Yeah. That is cooking. Those are definitely very warm. Yep. Alright, so these are still kind of hot to the touch, but we let them cool off for just a couple minutes. Let's go ahead and toss them back in the freezer. Alright, so this time it's been in here for about 36 hours. Thought we'd leave it in a little bit longer, and about the same temperature as you can see. So let's go toss it in the oven one last time. Alright, so we're back here, 170, and it's almost 10:30. And let's check our preheat. It's looking pretty good right there. And we'll come back in about an hour. Alright, so it's been a little more than an hour, about an hour and 11 minutes at 170 degrees. And let's double check our temperature. I'm going to go ahead and pull that out. Yeah, those puppies are hot. Hot, hot. Alright, so we're back at the bench. I'm going to go ahead and pull the bullets out of a few of these, and we're going to put the powder out on the paper so we can take a look at the granules and see if they've been compromised at all from the fresh stuff to the abused stuff. So here's the first round. Bullet pulled. Stuff's kind of sticky. It's almost like it's solidified in there. Doesn't even dump out. There we go. Wow, look at that. Just clumped. Still kind of got some stuck in there. Let's see if we can see that. That's wild stuff. I've never seen gunpowder do that before. Alright, let's try a fresh one. See how that works. Okay, so here is our freshie, and that stuff just poured right out pretty much without any issue, and most of it came out nice and clean. As you can see, this stuff is not clumped together at all. So it's going to be interesting when we fire this ammo that's been cooked to see how it affects the pressures. It definitely was pretty well glued together when we pulled that out of there. Grab one more of these. Alright, here's our next abuse victim. There we go. Nice big fat clump again. This time it came out a little bit cleaner. But boy, look at that. I mean, that is pretty solid. It's going to be interesting to see how that affects the burn rate and what kind of velocities we get out of that. Alright, let's do one more freshie and then we'll wrap this part up. So once again, this one just poured right out, nice and clean. No clumps. So what does that tell us? It appears that these extreme temperature variations definitely affect the way your powder is going to rest and settle in the cartridge case. Now, whether or not that translates into any actual measurable difference in performance, we're going to find out. So let's head out to the range with our chrono and let's do some shooting. Hey folks, we're out at the range now. It got a little bit breezy, so please excuse the wind noise. We're going to be testing our new and abused ammo here out of this Glock Model 34, and just bear in mind that for the accuracy tests, this is not the ammo that I actually zeroed this gun with, so the point of aim, point of impact might be slightly off, but what we're going to be doing is looking at group sizes at 7 yards just to see if there's any difference between the two. And we're also going to be using the Crony Model F1 to check and see if there's any difference in velocities between those two. Alright, so we're going to start out with 5 rounds of our fresh ammo and see how it does on the Crony. 1210, 1174, 1167, 1198, 1172. Now we're going to try our abused ammo. You can see the mark on that. We got 5 rounds. I have to admit I'm a little scared. So if I die, please tell my wife I love her and my children that I love them. Keep your fingers crossed. Let's see what happens. Here goes nothing. 1200. 1173, 1161, 1129, 1134. It actually worked. Holy cow. In crunching these numbers, we can see that there definitely was a little bit of degradation in performance. You can see that we lost 25 feet per second in average velocity. Our extreme spread went up by 28 feet per second, and we had an average energy decrease of 16 foot-pounds. Now that didn't really translate into any obvious performance problems. We didn't have any squib rounds. We didn't have any other malfunctions. So I would say at this point that these numbers are relatively negligible in the real world, as long as the gun goes bang and doesn't explode in your face. Alright, let me show you guys something. Now, inside my truck, in the little armrest compartment here, I keep this little insulated lunch baggie full of ammo. So I've got 9mm, I've got 380, and I've got some 32. This is basically all of the calibers that I may or may not be carrying on any given day. And I usually swap this out about once every 2 years. Now, you guys might be saying that's a lot, but what I've got here is I've got some Speer Lawman from 2017, and this is the stuff that I just swapped out. I put some fresh ammo in there. So we're going to test this out. This is 2 years old now. It is currently 2019, July of 2019. And we're in northern Colorado, so this has been exposed to quite a few extreme temperatures. Single digits in the winter and triple digits in the summer. And of course it's in a car, so it gets blistering hot in here. So let's see if it works. Alright, so got 5 rounds loaded up of the 115 grain Speer Lawman FMJ. Let's see how it does on the Crony. 1296, 1252, 1275, 1280, 1249. You can see here that the Speer Lawman retained really respectable velocity after 2 years in the truck. Also, the extreme spread was not too bad, and the average energy was pretty sizable at 411 foot-pounds. Overall, the performance was quite good. Now we're going to do our accuracy test. So first up is our Fiocchi 124 grain FMJ fresh stuff. Let's go take a look. Alright, so here's the Fiocchi 124 grain, and stacking them pretty decent here. One flyer, but overall can't ask for better than that. Next up is the abused batch of Fiocchi 124 grain ball. Let's give it a shot. Alright, let's go down there and check it out. So we are a little bit more spread out here, and a slightly different point of impact. Another flyer here, so maybe there might have been a tiny bit of effect on that. I mean, I was holding in the exact same spot, but overall that's still relatively acceptable accuracy. I mean, that's about an inch right there, square inch, with the exception of that one flyer. And last but not least, let's try our Speer Lawman 115 grain ball. Let's check it out. So here's our Lawman that is also a very acceptable group. It's within maybe slightly over an inch, but really not bad at all. I think all three of them performed admirably considering what the Spear has been through over the last 2 years being in a car, and of course the torture that we put this one through going in the freezer and the oven multiple times. So I think overall not too bad. I'm pleasantly surprised. Now the rest of these I'm just going to do some reliability tests. I'm basically just going to let loose on one of those steel targets out there. Those are at 30 yards. We'll start out with 10 rounds of the Spear Lawman first. Alright, so I loaded up the last rounds of our abused Fiocchi 124s. Let's see how they do.
We finished off the rest of the abused ammo without any issues to report. All rounds fed, fired, and ejected as one would expect from factory fresh ammo, despite being subjected to extreme temperatures. So what can we say we learned today? Well, this was a very small sample based on a short list of testing criteria, so we won't let it go to our heads. But we can say that yes, there may be some performance degradation caused by extreme temps. The real question is, does it really make any difference in the grand scheme of things? We'll leave that up to you to decide. Hopefully, this video was informative for you. We definitely learned a lot from doing it. Please remember to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Thanks for visiting today, and we'll see you again next time at Attica Armory.